The universe, so full of wonders. I could spend hours and hours looking up at the sky. So many stars, so many mysteries. And there's one very special star that makes me think of one very special person. Now let me tell you my story. At the dawn of time, from the chaos came an exception. One of the most mysterious secrets of the universe. You see, I come from that very mysterious and unique place. We are the only known solar system with double gravity. Two twin planets whirling together around one sun, but each with its own and opposite gravity. Now in our world, it's possible to fall up and to rise down. But my story, it's about love. Some people say the true lovers are one soul that is separated when it's born. And those two halves will always yearn to find their way back together. Well, to understand my story, you're gonna need to know the 3 basic laws of double gravity. All matter, every single object is pulled by the gravity of the world that it comes from, and not the other. An object's weight can be offset using matter from the opposite world, inverse matter. But the problem is, after a few hours of contact, matter in contact with inverse matter burns. Now, these laws are as old as the universe itself. They're unchangeable, and there are no exceptions. Gravity. They say you can't fight it. Well, I disagree. What if love was stronger than gravity? Now let's go back to the dark times, when any contact between worlds was extremely dangerous and totally forbidden. Up top had grown rich and prosperous, while here, down below, we stole inverse metal from up top to heat our homes and to survive, risking everything, even our own lives.
I think he's dead.
Authorized contact between worlds was through Transworld, a giant corporation up top, created to take cheap oil from down below and to sell back to us overpriced electricity that we couldn't afford. Because of Transworld, I grew up in an orphanage. You see, my parents died in the Big Blast, a Transworld oil refinery explosion that destroyed much of the city. Fortunately, there were the weekends. They let me visit my great Aunt Becky, my only surviving relative. As well as Becky, there were 2 things that I truly loved: model airplanes and Becky's flying pancakes.
Going to have to get me some more pink pollen tomorrow. Okay, sweetie?
Becky also initiated me into an ancient knowledge, passed down over the generations through the women of her family.
Now catch.
The secret of the pink bees.
Shalom, Yasharallah. I hope all is well. So I hope you caught some of the things that you just seen in the intro to this movie, The Upside Down. I hope you caught the inverted triangle, the things that the boy mentions, and six-pointed star with the white and black blocks, one above it and one below it, and we'll go back and I'll show you that real quick before I click out of here. But the thing that you need to pay attention to is that mirror that you're looking at right now. You're seeing that lady in the reflection from the mirror. One thing that I forgot that I didn't notice when I made the last video, and I didn't realize it until after I had was publishing the video and I was putting together a thumbnail for it. I realized that in the end of I Pet Goat 2, that's a mirror, and it shows those church buildings coming down, and right after the Messiah comes through it shows them falling down. That's a mirror in front of it. And to the left of it it's in my search for what a scepter looks like, to see if that thing where the child in the white robe is spinning around was a scepter. I found the only scepter that resembled that was Loki's scepter, and it's exactly it's that thing to the left of them churches, the church building when it's falling down. That's Loki's scepter. He's known as the trickster. He can he's like a magician. He causes you to fall under an illusion to believe he's over here or he's over there or he's someone that he's not. So that's why I made that thumbnail the way I did. But why I want you to focus on the mirror. I watched a few other movies. I didn't watch this movie. I do remember seeing it a long time ago. But I watched a movie by the title of Equilibrium. And I'm going to show you a look. I'm not going to show you a clip, but I'm going to show you a little bit about it. And it's about the same thing. This is all related to the same thing. Let me see if I can get this on here real quick. Right there. See that? I tried to circle it when it was playing. Right there. You see the blocks? There's a black and a white one. And that lady's looking in the mirror. Look. She's looking in the mirror over here to the left, and it's going like this, showing you that it's that star right there. But what I noticed in a few movies that I watched that are about the image of the beast, it's all abstract. It's what they call metaphysical nonsense. So unless you know what you're looking for, you're not going to have a clue what it's talking about. In the movie Equilibrium, let me show you real quick. Right here, Equilibrium with Christian Bale. You can see them guys are basically the same image of one another. He's white and he's black. In that movie, they live in a dystopian future where everything from the past is burned. So you can't, so no one, and their goal is to soon erase all traces of how life used to be. And in this movie, when you see black and white, and when Christian Bale, he's realizing who he really is, he's looking in a mirror. In the movie The 13th Floor, the guy, he gets shot to some other dimension, and he's standing on a checkered, white and black checkered floor, and he's looking in the mirror while another man's talking to him thinking that he's someone else. And he's looking in the mirror like he don't know, how to react to it. But look at the definition for equilibrium. A state in which opposing forces or influences are balanced. Now, I watched the movie Oblivion. I watched Oblivion, The 13th Floor, and Equilibrium since the last time you heard from me. And like I said, I'm not encouraging anyone to watch these movies for entertainment. I did this just to gain more understanding of what it is we're dealing with, in order to maybe relay the memo, the message right here to y'all in the most efficient, sufficient way possible. In the movie Oblivion, in all these movies, there's themes of white and black. There's people wearing all white, and then you see like people wearing all black, two different sides of the stories. And like I said, a lot of these movies, there's scenes where there's a black and white checkered floor. There is in the movie Vanilla Sky. I watched some trailers when he's looking in the mirror and he's realizing that his face is all jacked up. There's a white and black checkered floor. And all of these movies, they all, at some point in the movie, the main character is looking in the movie, in the mirror, excuse me. And another thing that I'll say isn't a coincidence, a lot of these main characters are named David. But this machinist, I never saw it, and I don't plan on it. But the same thing happens to him. He's in the bathroom, there's a white and black checkered floor, and he's looking in the mirror. And he said, let me see if I can find that part right here in the plot where he's talking to himself in the mirror. Right here. Trevor stares into a mirror at home, repeating the words, "I know who you are." You see? But here's another big clue that will let you know that I Pet Goat 2 is what I've been telling you it's about. See down here? Hangman. Throughout that movie, The Machinist, this guy's playing the hangman or whatever. He finds a sticky note on his refrigerator door, the hangman. And on I Pet Goat 2, if you remember, the hangman is drawn on the chalkboard. In the movie The 13th Floor and I can't remember the other one, but it keeps showing you a image of a brain, like from a CAT scan. And on the movie I Pet Goat 2, it's on the chalkboard. But and there's so much I got to tell you about that's going to lay it all out for you. You won't have to even question whether or not that movie I Pet Goat 2 is about the image of the beast, and you won't have to question whether or not the image of the beast and Babylon is who I've been telling you it is, who the Most High has told us through his word it is. After I posted that last video, in the comment section, a lady asked me if I had seen I Pet Goat 1. And I was like, no. And she was like, wow, I can't believe you haven't seen it. So I went and looked for it. And there is a animated film, short film, that people have stuck the tag of I Pet Goat 1 on it. But the real name for that animation is In Shadow, a modern odyssey. It's not I Pet Goat 1, although it has a lot to do with what we're talking about. And after I looked and searched hard to find out if there was an I Pet Goat 1, it dawned on me why I Pet Goat 2 is titled that. It's for the same reason that in the movie Little Shop of Horrors, the big man-eating flower is named Audrey 2. It's because it's talking about the two cities, the two Yerushalems. And in the beginning of I Pet Goat 2, when George Bush is in front of the class and he's saying, fool me once, fool me twice, what happens? His head spins around and he turns into Obama, and Obama winks at you and he starts laughing. That's symbolism to let you know that something isn't what it seems. There was no I Pet Goat 1. And if you look at I Pet Goat 3 and 4 and all them, it kind of adds up. It kind of relates to I Pet Goat 2, but I Pet Goat 2 is all about the image of the beast and who it is. It's showing you what the Messiah is doing, how he comes in on water, on the truth, floating in on the clouds. He comes and you see him coming down from heaven, and he's breathing fire, meaning his words are fire, are words of fire, and they cut through the lies. His feet are on fire, meaning wherever the word walks, it burns down the lies. And his eyes are flames of fire, meaning whatever he's looking at, whatever subject you're looking at, if you're walking in the Ruach HaKodesh, in the set apart spirit of truth, following the Lamb, believing the truth you shall find. You'll see through all the BS and you will find the truth. So, and there's a bunch more that I found out about that movie. One thing I want to let you know, if you didn't know, in the I Pet Goat 2, there was one part I kept having trouble with, and I couldn't understand why it showed that. And that's when it shows the male phallic symbol. And then inside of it is the woman locked in the cage, which represents Mystery Babylon. I couldn't understand why it was showing the male phallic symbol. And just by, I won't say by chance, but this is how all this stuff works and comes together for me. I heard someone talking about that right there, the new sickness that's storming, I guess, and that they're all worried about. You see everybody starting to panic already in the news. You see it every time you turn on the news or YouTube or whatever. You see it right off the bat, and it's a continuing theme. Well, I was curious what that name Parola is, where they got it. They said they got it from a meteorite, but that's what it means right there. Go look it up. Now, is that for sure why it shows that male phallus symbol in iPet Goat 2? I don't know. Is it crazy that they named it that? Does it surprise me that they named it after the male sexual organ? Absolutely not. Sure doesn't. So let's look right here. Here's another movie. Oh, no. Let me back this up. So I went and looked at who made iPet Goat 2. And it's this guy right here, Louis Lafarbe, whatever, however you say his name. And the only thing, you can't find anything really out about this guy. This is about the best you're going to find, this picture you're looking at right here. There's no Wikipedia on him, but he made The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, Beowulf, and iPet Goat 2. And when you go look at iPet Goat 2, he started that in 2006, and he wrote it, directed it, edited it, everything, and he didn't release it until 2012 on June 24th. He released it on June 24th of 2012. And here is just a still shot of Beowulf. Look what it says in the description of the movie Beowulf. In a besieged land, Beowulf must battle against the hideous creature Grendel and his vengeance-seeking mother. And back to this movie Equilibrium. In the beginning of this, when they're burning like the relics from the past, like they're burning the Mona Lisa, his partner, you can see he's starting to like dissent. You can tell he's not digging the fact that they're burning all these relics and whatever. And he sneaks a poetry book in his pocket out of the place they found all those paintings and all the books and stuff. And Christian Bale, when he catches his best friend later reading from this book, he shoots him for it, because that's the punishment for doing something like that. It's called a sense offense in that movie. But I took a still shot of that book, and let me see if I can find it. And it says on the front of it, Yeats. Right here. It was a poetry book by this guy right here, Yeats. And so I went and looked at his Wikipedia, and you see down here at the bottom it says the book includes several Yeats famous poems, including Sailing to Byzantium. So I went and looked up that. Now check this out. That is no country for old men, the young in one another's arms, birds in the trees, those dying generations at their song. The salmon falls, the mackerel crowded seas, fish, flesh, or fowl command all summer long. Whatever is begotten, born, and dies, caught in that sensual music, all neglect monuments of unaging intellect. Monuments of unaging intellect. An aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick, unless soul clap its hands and sing, and louder sing, for every tatter in its mortal dress. Nor is there singing school but studying, monuments of its own magnificence. And therefore I have sailed the seas and come to the holy city of Byzantium. And you can look, it talks about God's holy fire. It's exactly what I've been talking about. That's what, when it's talking about singing, that's referencing what it says in the word. And so in my search for who the Byzantium, what the holy city of Byzantium is, I found this article about the establishment of the state of Israel, Israel, and the Balfour Declaration and all that. And I want to read it to you. You're going to want to open your eyes and turn your ears to the on position. Turn your ear switch on. I'm going to post a link to this article in the description box below. And there's another one that I'll mention here in a minute that I'm going to put in there too. You're going to want to check both of those out. But here's that article where I found out about the Byzantium people. And I had never heard that name before. Look up here to the left at the top of the article. Right here. See that? That's that hexagon broken in half, two parts. Now, I'm going to read this to you and pay attention. This article belongs to the special issue Clashing Civilizations and Civilizational Identities in Populist Discourses. Abstract. Populism and civilizationism have transformed the politics of many countries. Many scholars consider them the biggest challenges to democracy since the rise of fascism and communism in the first half of the last century. The close affinity between populism, civilizationalism, and right-wing politics has also been analyzed and recognized in many countries from Turkey to India to the U.S. However, there are three areas that distinguish the appearance of civilizationalism in Israel. First, in contrast to many other countries, civilizationalism in Israel is not, maybe I skipped that, is not a phenomenon. It has been an essential part of Israel nationalism or Zionism since the early 20th century. Second, unlike many countries, Jewish civilizationalism in Israel is an article of faith for all major Israeli political parties. It is not a slogan raised only by the right-wing conservative part of the political spectrum. Finally, one observes an affinity between civilizationalism and populism. Civilizational rhetoric is the mainstay of populist leaders such as Trump, Erdogan, etc. In Israel, populism and civilizationalism have no special relationship as civilizationalism is mainstream politics. I hope I don't have to say that word again. All politicians, populist and non-populist, have to pay homage to Jewish, that thing. Otherwise, they will not succeed. This paper analyzes the Israeli founding fathers' statements, the Declaration of Independence, Israeli state symbols, the revival of the Hebrew language, the law of return, the first debate in the Knesset, and more recent nation-state law to demonstrate how Jewish civilizationalism is old, mainstream, and not exclusively populist. That was the introduction. Now check this out. Chapter 1 here. Recent years have seen a rise in civilizational rhetoric in several democratic societies across different continents. In April 2022, Turkish President Erdogan inaugurated the Islamic Civilizations Museum in Istanbul to showcase the versatility and superiority of Islamic civilization. In November 22, Jordan Bardella won the presidential election of the right-wing National Rally Party, replacing Marine Le Pen, promising to defend French civilization. In December 22, Modi said India was the most refined idea of human civilization, the most natural voice of humanity. So I'll start right here because I must have missed a part there. The state is considered a single manifestation of civilization that spans many territories and millennia. Both right-wing and left-wing populist leaders have used this rhetoric to win voters and elections by denouncing liberalism and established mainstream parties. For instance, in Europe, numerous right-wing populist European parties and leaders have fought and won elections based on the argument that Christian civilization or Judeo-Christian civilization and traditions are under threat from Islam, Muslims, and other refugees that do not belong to the white Christian civilization. So I read that first part right there so you get an idea of what this document is about. Okay? And that way you can hone in on what it isn't saying in this article and what it's truly implying. So right here, I'm going to start right here past that Brubaker 2017. It gives content to populism signifiers by first categorizing people via civilizational identity, whether self-imposed or imposed by populists. Second, by framing the people as morally good because the civilization to which they belong is morally good and derived from good religious values. Conversely, civilizationism adhered to populism allows populists to frame elites as morally bad insofar as they have betrayed and abandoned the values and culture of the people's civilization. Equally, others within the same society are framed as morally bad because they belong to a foreign civilization with inferior values derived from an inferior religion. So, what this is trying to tell you is this is how the state of Isis Ra'el was established, and through that, because of that, and its continuation until now, it's why you can't even mention these guys' name. It's why the culture today, society has made it to where you can't bat an eye at these people without being deemed, you should know, without getting canceled. As this chapter will show, Israeli civilizationism is mainstream and as old as the Israeli state, if not older. Israeli nationalism or Zionism is based on Jewish civilizationism. From the first Zionist Congress in 1897 to the nation-state law passed in 2018. Now there's a couple key parts I want to point out here. And like I said, I'm going to put the link in the description, and you want to go through and read all this. I'm not going to do it all to you. I just want to point a few things out. One big thing I want to point out to you is the founding fathers of this state in 1948, they were all, and it points it out here in this article, they were all secular and didn't even believe in God. They wouldn't even say that they believed in God. So it was founded by secular men wanting to bully their way into a piece of property that wasn't their own, and they did it by the power of Britain through the UN, and they did it on the basis that their morals, that they were morally good people, and that they should be allowed to do it, and no one better say a word about it. That's what this article will tell you. Part 2. Israel is comparatively a new state, but calls itself one of the oldest, if not the oldest of nations. But what does it say in the word? It says it's the youngest in the scripture. Israel came into being in 1948. Although most of the Jewish people lived outside Palestine, they were always part of the myriad of people living in Jerusalem and Palestine. They were, however, never a majority or rulers of Palestine since the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE. Romans, and there's that word, Byzantines and Persians ruled one after the other before Muslims conquered the area in the 7th century. After a brief interlude of Crusader rule, Muslims ruled this area until the First World War. Now, right here at the bottom of that, it says the League of Nations, which is now the UN, granted Britain the mandate to rule Palestine. And that is how the whole thing got started. And if you read in here, there was like 3 other locations that they were deciding on where to place the state of Israel. And they finally chose Palestine. Lucky for the Palestinians, huh? Right here, during part 3, during the late 19th century, the Zionist movement, after debating the efficacy of other places, including Uganda and Argentina, began promoting the migration of European Jews to Palestine. Although most of the pioneer Zionist leaders were secular, right there, were secular, as discussed below, and the movement was predominantly secular. Its origin and basis were religious. Judaism its history, culture, and civilization were what provided the vital and decisive link of Zionist European Jews with Palestine. It was a weapon they used. They were secular. They could care less about any of that stuff, which is one thing, what I've been trying to convey right here in this video, so I can get to where I'm going with this. Just bear with me. The word Zion itself is of biblical origins and means Jerusalem or the land of Israel. The following passage is in the Bible, and the Bible tells of the capture of Jerusalem by King David. And we ain't got to read that, 2 Samuel. You can read it. But and right here it says Zionism was a movement to save Jewish people and Jewish civilization irrespective of where they lived. Judaism was the basis of defining the specific group of people that needed to be saved, and Jerusalem, or the ancestral holy land of Palestine, Israel, was the place to build this old new nation, because Judaism and the Bible predicted that it was the destiny of the Jewish people. Exile would remain exile unless Jewish people were settled in Eretz Israel. The following passage details the association of the secular Zionist movement with Judaism. And they, like I said, what really needs to be taken from this article is what's not said, and you need to go to the Word and think about what the Word says, and it will show you that this was all a crock, and it will then it's going to show you how because in this article there's excerpts from the founding fathers of it that were declaring that they have that it's their God-given right to live there in Palestine and set up Israel, and that it was promised to them by God in the scripture that they would that they would come home and rule and reign, but it talks about how that wouldn't happen until the Messiah would come and set them free, which these guys, any of the ones that are quoting these verses, they're claiming that hasn't happened, right? Because that's how they believe. They believe that the Messiah hasn't came yet. So it will tell you that they're frauds. They're con artists. They've scammed the world, and it was all prophesied. It was all spoke of by the Most High in His Word. I've been reading it to you. And when you read this article and you think about how things are and what the Scripture says, you'll know for sure there'll be no more doubt about who the image and the beast is and what it means to stand with them and to have any compliance whatsoever with this abomination that lays waste. You definitely don't want to have any part of it. Do not be a cheerleader of it. No, you should actually be doing what I'm doing and exposing the wickedness of it, because that's what it is. Okay. Zionism as a political movement was preceded by various developments in the post-Enlightenment period. The term itself only appeared in the 1890s, but the importance of Zion to the life and thought of the Jewish nation was present throughout its history. The blessing next year in Jerusalem was part of the Passover ritual, and when praying in the synagogue, Jews faced towards the east. They put their back to the Hakal, to the real set-apart place, and looked to the east, just like it's mentioned in Ezekiel. In the history of the nation, the appearances of numerous messianic figures, including Shabbatai Zevi in the 17th century, were connected with the aspiration to return from exile. Numerous small Jewish settlements existed in the Holy Land throughout the centuries, and individual migration was a constant feature of Jewish life. The first Zionist Congress gathered in Basel, Switzerland in 1897. Around 200 delegates participated in the Congress. Unsurprisingly, although delegates came from 17 different countries, they were primarily European. Middle Eastern Jews did not have much representation. After a heated debate, Congress adopted the Basel Program. The main points of the program were as follows. First, Zionism focused on Zion, Jerusalem. After debating about different places and their respective advantages and disadvantages of where to put Zion, it was decided that Palestine was the best place to establish a state for the Jewish people. Second, to achieve this aim, Zionists decided to support immigration to Palestine, and the Congress sought funds for promoting their cause, strengthening Jewish consciousness and immigration. Theodore Herzl is considered the father of Zionism and a founding father of Israel, a secular, assimilated European Jew. Theodore was not religious and remained secular all his life. Born in Vienna, he gradually rose in importance as a playwright and a journalist, like all these guys do. All the big wig executives in Hollywood and radio and all that, yeah. They run the whole world. The whole world is the way it is because of you-know-who. And it's not by accident. It's by design, and it's designed to take you out and not to dinner. The Jewish question was of little interest to him in his early years, and his success as an assimilated Jew allowed him to overlook the need for a Jewish state. His only son Hans was given a secular upbringing, and Herzl notably refused to allow him to be circumcised. However, several events close to the 1890s made him think about the horrors of European anti-Semitism. It must be understood that he was not interested in Zionism because of religious... Where was I? because of religious reasons. It was his second best solution to the age-old European Jewish questions. That when they realized that they could get away with this and that they could bully their way in and get all these extra perks and benefits, I'm sure a lot of them secular people were claiming, yeah, I do these things too. I do these rituals every year. And yeah, that's who I am. Just like someone would have done in the back when Rome was here. People would say they were Roman citizens because it would get them out of certain complications. Same way with today, up until recent years, you could use, if you were a U.S. citizen, you could buy your way out of certain complex situations. Well, this wasn't them getting out of a complex situation. This was a golden ticket in, is what it was. We have sincerely tried everywhere to merge with the national communities in which we live, seeking only to preserve the faith of our fathers. It is not permitted us. In vain are we loyal patriots, sometimes super loyal. In vain do we make the same sacrifices of life and property as our fellow citizens. In vain do we strive to enhance the fame of our native lands. Our native lands. Right there, they admitted it to you. In arts. So what he was saying here, this Hertzberg guy, he was complaining that one of the reasons that they need their own state was because all the countries that they lived in before, in Eastern Europe and wherever, Poland, all them pitching in to enrich the countries they lived in, it was all in vain because the people there in those countries didn't accept them. So, but you notice he said our native lands. So, and in here somewhere, it tells you of all the murder, all the chaos that happened to the Arabs and the Palestinian, Arab people and Palestinian people that lived there, that they moved out the way. Like that old Ludacris song, "Move, Palestinian, get out the way." That's what they were singing back then. And I've got other articles, and I've read from them on All Esteem here in the past as well, that it'll tell you the exact same thing. It'll speak of the atrocities, the bloodshed, the horrors that went down so this could happen. And I'm not going to read any more of it. Like I said, it'll be in the description. Go read it. If you still question about what I'm saying, go read that. Because this is what I want you to think about. Those guys, them secular founding fathers that wrote the Declaration of Independence for the state of Israel, they were secular, didn't even believe in the Most High. They had 3 spots in mind that they wanted to put Jerusalem. And they were going to put it somewhere, but they chose Palestine. But they put it there and said that they ought to be able to move the people that already lived there out of their homes, kill them, whatever. And they did. So they could set up their new position. And the power to do that was given to them by Great Britain. And if you go and you read about Lawrence of Arabia and all that, you'll see why Britain had so many reasons to want to do that, like how it benefited them. For like oil, being able to transfer oil from Saudi Arabia out through the Mediterranean, through the Straits of Gibraltar, so they didn't have to take it all the way around the Horn of Africa. And that's just one benefit. But those guys and secular founding fathers, they when they needed to, they quoted from the Bible, and they said that it was their right to come back as exiles to their holy land. Okay? And they mentioned Messiah a few times, like that because the Messiah is coming soon, that's the reason they're there. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but that's basically what it says. Well, I've been reading to you plenty. You should know that when it talks about coming back the second time, when the people of the Most High return a second time to possess the land he promised to their fathers, it's over with, and they will have done it with the help of the Messiah, of the strong right arm, of the righteousness of his word. And there'll be no more fighting. There'll be no more chaos like there is now. So you can clearly see they did it on a lie. Everything about it is it's bullying people, it's murder, rape, pillaging, lying, fraud, scamming, conning, and those secular people that founded that place, they're the reason the star is on that flag. They say it's the Star of David. I've been showing you what that star is. Those secular people that set up that state, they are people from the Kabbalah. And it's got nothing to do with the Most High. Actually, it has everything to do with the opposite of the Most High. It has everything to do with Mystery Babylon. But the whole world, the majority of the world, they believe it's the Holy Land. They'll go there and get baptized in a river that they believe is the Jordan, the Yarden, and it's not. It's the abomination that lays waste. It's the biggest fraud ever pulled on people. You can take the moon landing and all these other things, the curvature of the earth, all these other things, and you can toss them out the window. They've got nothing on this lie that's been pulled, the veil that's been pulled down over the face of the people. But guess what? Those same people, the same enemies that created this monumental travesty, they're the same people that brought you all those other now minor trespasses, like the curvature and all that sort of thing. Now, I don't know if you know it or not, but those people, and a lot of the universities around the country, almost every university, it has a section that's reserved just for them people to do whatever the heck they want with that university. It's like they have sovereignty over that little piece of area. And it's called Hillel University. And you hear them people talk about it all the time. I hear it all the time. Well, if you look up the word Hillel, right there, Hillel, this one's spelled Hillel, and this one's spelled Hel. The university, the divisions or whatever of every university, it's spelled Helel, but it's the same thing right here. Strong's Hebrew 1966. It means, in the sense of brightness, the morning star Lucifer. Over here, this one spelled Hillel, from the verb halal, to shine or praise. To praise from the it's all the same thing. It means brightness, to exalt, yourself. When we say hallelujah, we're exalting him. These guys exalt themselves. They have over other peoples, the whole world, and they've made you bow down and kiss their ring. And if not, you'll be canceled and possibly murdered. They've murdered so many people. It's unbelievable. And you're probably someone who is upset with me for all that I've pointed out about them on this video tonight. You're probably someone who stands firm with them people. And I'm not talking about the innocent people that go by that title that are completely oblivious to this. I'm talking about the people who use that star, who make these movies that I've just pointed out to you. The image of the beast and Babylon. That's who I'm talking about. I want to show you these two articles also that I found. And you should know about the 42 and the 24 and the 14 and the 41. When this started for me, when a lot of this began to be revealed to me, I had just turned 41, and a lot of the symbolism and everything that was going on around that time was related to 41 and 14. My son turned 14, and now I've turned 42. And if you went back, I'm not suggesting that you do, but you can. You go back, and before, like in January of this year, before my 42nd birthday. And I don't celebrate birthdays. I'm just telling you, from about a month before I had reached that age, I was, in my videos, was talking about 42. And there's so many huge things that happened in my life and in the world, in the news and everything, that had 41 and 42 all over it, that it's crazy. Well, I said that my 42nd year was going to be epic, and it has been. If you went through all my videos since then, you'll see all the adventure that I've been taken down, all the truth, the magnificent, mind-freeing, chain-breaking, shattering truth that the Most High, through his Messiah, through his word, he has led me to. It's insanity. To think about it, I really wasn't even alive back then. Now that I've been shown what I have by the Most High, it's like, I'm so thankful for it. There's, like, life wasn't even life back then compared to how fulfilling it is now, and the promise that I see and have access to now. It doesn't compare. But look, here's an article I found about the southern border, and you should remember all that I've been talking about, the southern border invasion, the Article 42. Look here, 42 Texas counties now support declaring invasion at southern border. And this bill was signed on October 24th. And back here is a Article 41 and 42, that's from the UN, from the League of Nations. We were just talking about them. And look what it says. The Security Council may decide what measures not involving the use of armed force are to be employed to give effect to its decisions, and it may call upon the members of the UN to apply such measures. These may include complete or partial interruption of economic relations or of rail, sea, air, postal, telegraphic, radio, or other means of communication, and the severance of diplomatic relations. Article 42. Should the Security Council consider that measures provided for in Article 41 would be inadequate, or have proved to be inadequate, it may take such action by air, sea, or land forces as may be necessary to maintain or restore international peace and security. So what they're saying is, what that Article 41 and 42, it gives them the power to come in and do whatever they want, whenever they want. But here's another article, says Russia destroyed 42 UK-launched drones. And this article was written in 23, I believe, but it does say 22 because that's the year that they invaded the Ukraine. And you see that number 33? But look, they invaded it. What day did they begin to invade? February 24th, 2022. Volume 42. I haven't been lying to you guys. That's what this is all about. So, being how that's the case, I'm going to go to Isaiah 14 and 41, and I'm going to read that. I done read 42 and 24 to you, and in Psalms, and it's all regarding the same thing. And what signifies it even more is that these are mere images of one another, just like the image of the beast, just like what that star represents, what the duality represents, what mother, the demiurge, what all this stuff is about. 14 and 41. 41 is like 14 looking in the mirror at itself. It sees 41. Same with 24 and 42. That's why they use all this stuff. All these different numbers regarding invasion. A lot of those movies that I named, they take place in 2024. It's everywhere. You can't get around it. If you want the truth, it's easy to find. Let's take it from the top right here. Isaiah chapter 14 verse 1. Because Yahuwah has compassion on Jacob and shall again choose Yasharal and give them rest in their own land. And the strangers shall join them, and they shall cling to the house of Jacob. And peoples shall take them and bring them to their own place. And the house of Yasharal shall possess them for servants and female servants in the land of Yahuwah. And they shall make captives of their captors and rule over their oppressors. Now, let's pause right there. Go read that article. Do you believe that the Palestinians were oppressing those people? And that's why they got to go in there and bully their way into that piece of property and rape and murder people? That's never mentioned in the scripture, what they've done. And this is the main thing you need to understand. What did Abba kick his children out of the set-apart land for in the first place? For Baal worship, for Babylon crap, right? The star of Remphan and Molech and golden calves. You're gonna tell me that he allowed them to go in and bully people out of the set-apart land and to return home only to do what he kicked them out for, but even on a much grander scale? Is that what anyone who stands with them people, is that their argument? Are they going to tell me that, are they just like these Christians that believe that the law, quote unquote, is done away with, that even though the Most High, all through his word, tells us we must obey it, we must follow it, the Christians now think that we don't have to follow it right now? But I think some of them think that in the end we'll have to. So right now, I guess they think we're just taking a break right now, I guess. Are you like them and think that the Most High divorced his children, booted them out, did all he did to his people in his set-apart land? The reason he did that to them, he's okay with now, and he let them come back to the land? No. It's spoken of right here in his word, what's going on, and you best get with the program. Because what I'm talking about, and you're going to see, it is the wedding supper of the Lamb. It's exactly what it is. And there's no other category. When you're reading about the wedding supper, when Messiah is talking about the wedding supper or in Revelations, it's talking about what I'm talking about. Exactly. There's no other qualification. The wedding supper is between those who have come and have been led by his word, and they have seen Yerushalayim. It's come to their heart, the truth of it. And the lies of what they've been told, all the lies they've been told are exposed and seen through. The veil is lifted. It's been removed from our eyes. And we sing the song of Moses, of the return, and of the Lamb, of the truth. That's what it is. And it shall be in that day, Yahuwah gives you rest from your sorrow and from your trouble and the hard service in which you were made to serve. That you shall take up this proverb against the sovereign of Babel and say, how the oppressor has ceased, the gold gatherer ceased. See there, right there. Verse 4 should tell you that establishing of that state, the Balfour Declaration, all that is an absolute lie. It's a scam. That you shall take up this proverb against the sovereign of Babel and say, how the oppressor has ceased, the gold gatherer has ceased. If them coming back and establishing the state of Israel is the truth, it's what the scripture talks about, then Abba would be a liar. He wouldn't be able to say how the oppressor has ceased, the gold gatherer ceased, talking about Babel, because everything they teach is Babylon. It's the tree in the garden of the knowledge of good and evil. That star, I've showed you what it is. It's everything. The reason that they call the Messiah Zeus, Jesus, Iesus, is from a Babylonian teaching that come from right over there, from them people right there. The same type of people in the same Kabbalistic manner and doctrine. Yahuwah has broken the staff of the wrong, the scepter of the rulers. He who struck the people in wrath with ceaseless blows, he who ruled the nations in displeasure is persecuted, and no one restrains. All the earth is at rest and at peace. They shall break forth into singing. Even the cypress trees rejoice over you, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since you were cut down, no woodcutter has come up against us. And that verse 8 right there, that's speaking of the fact that they removed trees, and they actually took and tried to plant cypress and box trees over there in that false land to try to make them grow, to make the image, the lie, all that more believable. But like all the things they do, it didn't work out because, and I've made videos about it, I got all the proof that you need. Those trees can't grow over there in that land because of something in the soil. It will not happen. They planted whole forest out there that died. You know, they planted a bunch of flowers in there so they could claim that that's prophecy being fulfilled, that the flower is blossoming, when they didn't even know that that is a metaphor. That wasn't even talking about actual flowers. It was talking about what I'm talking about. And those flowers died. They claim that southern Egypt down there is the real Mitzrayim, the real Egypt, and we know through scripture and in history, a lot of historical documents say that Egypt, ancient Egypt, was the home of corn, of maize, the native. It's where it originates. Corn can't grow over there in that Egypt. It's from America, where I've been telling you Egypt is. Oh, and here's a fun fact too. Wakanda, where the X crosses, where the lines of totality meet for the two great eclipses, it X marks the spot in southern Illinois known as Little Egypt, and the closest town is called Makanda, known as, its nickname is the Star of Egypt, and there's all kinds of weird stuff there. I've made videos about it. What rhymes with Makanda? Wakanda. From the Black Panther, you know, from the Marvel, because all this Marvel stuff is all about what I'm talking about. What is Wakanda known for? Well, it's a city that's hidden, that you don't know that's there. It's under this bubble, but it's actually there. Wherever in the story they claim it is, there's a reason they made that story, and there's a reason it's named Wakanda. Just like Makanda, it's the Star of Egypt. It's where real Egypt lies. Sheol from beneath us is excited about you, to meet you at your coming. It stirs up the dead for you, all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up their thrones, all the sovereigns of the nations. All of them respond and say to you, have you also become as weak as we? Have you become like us? You see, this whole chapter and the next one I'm going to read, it's telling you exactly why I just read all that stuff to you, and why I showed you that. It's showing you how those who exalt themselves in Hallel is going to be brought down. It just said Sheol, it's opening its mouth, it's ready for it, for those people who want to claim that they have superiority over other people because they're morally better than other people. And they don't believe none of the crap that they're preaching. They're actually, on their flag, they wear the banner, they lift up a banner of Babylon, of do what thou wilt, of Satan, Luciferian worship. That's what it's all about. That's who you stand. If you stand with that, that's who you're standing with. Don't get it twisted. Come try and prove me wrong. You ain't gonna, because you can't. Your arrogance has been brought down to Sheol, and the sound of your stringed instruments, the maggot, is spread under you, and worms cover you. The stringed instruments, you should know. I've been telling you, when they talk, when the Most High mentions singing, he's either talking about the true set apart place, Jerusalem, or he's talking about some imposter who's claiming to be Jerusalem. And this has only happened one time in history, as far as I know, and that's happening right now. But instead of in what he hears, when he hears their stringed instruments and them claiming to be all that they claim to be, what he sees is the maggot spread under them. Worms cover you. How you have fallen from the heavens, O Hallel. It's the same word. Go look it up. Hallel University. I'm not lying. Son of the morning, you have been cut down to the ground, you who laid low the nations. For you have said in your heart, let me go up to the heavens. Let me raise my throne above the stars of El, and let me sit in the mount of appointment on the sides of the north. Let me go up above the heights of the clouds. Let me be like the Most High. But you are brought down to Sheol, to the sides of the pit. Those who see you stare at you, like me right now, and ponder over you, saying, is this the man who made the earth tremble, who shook rains, who made the earth tremble? He didn't make it tremble with earthquakes. He made it tremble by removing landmarks and boundaries, covering people's eyes through lies and time to make people believe, convince people that where they stand isn't actually where they stand. Make you believe you're in some other country when actually you're in a whole different country. Who made the world as a wilderness and destroyed its cities, who would not open the house of his prisoners. All the sovereigns of the nations, all of them were laid in esteem, every one in his own house. They were laid in esteem, you see. But you have been thrown from your burial site like an abominable branch. That branch that's referencing the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Like the garment of those who are killed, thrust through with the sword, who go down to the stones of the pit like a trampled corpse. You are not joined with them in the burial place, for you have destroyed your land and killed your people. Let the seed of evildoers never be mentioned. Prepare his children for slaughter because of the crookedness of their fathers, lest they rise up and possess the land and fill the face of the world with cities. And I shall rise up against them, declares Yahuwah of hosts, and shall cut off from Babel the name and remnant and offspring and descendant, declares Yahuwah. And I shall make it a possession for the porcupine and marshes of muddy water, and shall sweep it with the broom of destruction, declares Yahuwah of hosts. Yahuwah of hosts has sworn, saying, truly, as I have planned, so it shall be, and as I have purposed, so it stands. To break Ashur, Satan, Lucifer, in my hand, and tread him down on my mountains, and his yoke shall be removed from them, and his burden removed from their shoulders. This is the counsel that is counseled for all the earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out over all the nations. For Yahuwah of hosts has counseled, and who annuls it? And his hand that is stretched out, who turns it back? This is the message which came in the year that sovereign Ahaz died. Do not rejoice, all you of Philistia, that the rod that struck you is broken. For out of the serpent's roots comes forth an adder, and its offspring is a fiery flying serpent. And the firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy lie down in safety. Poor and needy. And I shall kill your roots with scarcity of food, and it shall kill your remnant. Howl, O gate. Cry, O city. Melt away, all you of Philistia. For smoke shall come from the north, and there is no stranger in his ranks. We're not strangers, like y'all claim, and like you are, and you openly claim you are. And what does one answer the messengers of a nation? That Yahuwah has founded Zion, not the League of Nations and Balfour Declarations, Lawrence's of Arabia. Yahuwah, the Most High, our wonderful Creator, our righteousness, by His esteem, glory, power, has it been done. And the poor of His people take refuge in it. We get on our face, like I am right now, giving Him all praise, all honor, all glory, and all esteem. Hallelujah. Here's the reverse of that, the mirror image of 1441. Be silent before me, you coastlands, and let my peoples renew their power. You coastlands, if you've been paying attention, you should know the coastlands, that's mentioning, when he says coastlands, he's talking about who I've been talking about this whole video. In that movie, The 13th Floor, at the end of it, they're on a coastland. If you watch that movie and you know what's going on, you'll see why they're on the coast. And let peoples renew their power. Lift the veil. Let them renew their power by setting Jerusalem, their heart on Jerusalem. Let us come together for right ruling. Let the peoples renew their power. Let them come near. Come to Jerusalem. Then let them speak. Let us come together for right ruling. Who raised up the righteous one from the east, called him to his foot, gave the nations before him, and made sovereigns submit to him. He gave them as the dust to his sword, as driven stubble to his bow. He pursued them, passed over in safety by a path that he had not gone with his feet. Who has performed and done it, calling the generations from the beginning? I, Yahuwah, am the first, and with the last I am He. Coastlands see it and fear. The ends of the earth are afraid. They draw near and come. Everyone helps his neighbor and says to his brother, be strong. And the craftsman strengthens the goldsmith. He who smooths with the hammer inspires him who strikes the anvil, saying of the joining, it is good, and he strengthens it with nails so it does not totter. All these monuments and stuff you see, I've showed you videos where all those sculptures over in quote unquote Egypt, they had rebar in them. They're like Lego blocks. They threw sand up on them for effect to make it look authentic. They've lied about all that stuff. I've got photos of them staging archaeological digs and sites. And I've showed you so much proof, and you probably have seen more than I have, of the cover up of the stuff they find in America. All the giant mounds, the mounds and the giant skeletons and the lost Decalogue stone, the Bat Creek inscription, all this stuff, the slaughtering of the Native Americans, the reason Columbus had 5 Hebrew translators and he came over, the reason they say he's the first one to get here. I could go on and on. If you still believe it after you've seen all this, and you still stand with them people, do yourself and the rest of us a favor and slap the shit out yourself, because you're ridiculous. Wake the heck up. But you, Yasharal, are my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the descendants of Abraham, who loved me, actually love him, whom I have strengthened from the ends of the earth and called from its farthest parts, and said to you, you are my servant. I have chosen you and have not rejected you. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not look around, for I am your Most High. I shall fortify you. I shall also help you. I shall also uphold you with the right hand of my righteousness. See, all those who raged against you are ashamed and blush. And see, when he says, I shall uphold you with the right hand of my righteousness, that's the Messiah, the Word, the truth, the way, and the life. He's involved in all of this. And those people, if they aren't secular and they're not just straight up Satanist, Kabbalist, if they are religious and they believe in the God, quote unquote, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they think the Messiah is an abomination. When you read from his word, like I'm going to here in a few minutes, they believe that's an abomination. That's who you stand with. That's who you support. Their river is who you went over and you go get baptized in. They're the ones who you bow down and kiss the ring of. Don't forget it. Hallel. The hexagram, the 6-pointed star of Molech and Remphan that symbolizes child pedophilia and sacrifice. And I could go on and on. I ain't touched even the tip of the iceberg yet. Those are the people who you pledge your allegiance to. See, all those who raged against you are ashamed and blush. They are as non-existent. Yeah, they are. They don't even exist. It's a figment of your imagination, imagery. False image, false light, image of the beast. They are as non-existent, and the men who strive with you perish. You seek them, but do not find them. Those who struggle with you, those who fight you are as non-existent, as nothing. For I, Yahuwah, your mighty Most High, am strengthening your right hand, saying to you, do not fear, I shall help you. Do not fear, you worm, Jacob. You men of Yasharal, I shall help you, declares Yahuwah. And your Redeemer, the set-apart one of Yasharal. See, I shall make you into a new threshing sledge with sharp teeth. Let you thresh mountains and beat them small, and make hills like chaff. You winnow them, the wind lifts them up, and the whirlwind scatters them. But you rejoice in Yahuwah and boast in the set-apart one of Yasharal. When the poor and needy seek water, and there is none, and their tongues have failed for thirst, I, Yahuwah, do answer them. I, the mighty Most High Yasharal, do not forsake them. I open rivers on bare hills and fountains in the midst of valleys. I make a wilderness become a pool of water and a dry land springs of water. I set in the wilderness cedar, acacia, myrtle, and oil tree. I place in the desert cypress, pine, and box tree together. See, that's why he's saying all this, because he likes to remind you that he did all this. He planted those trees where they belong. He could make them grow in the desert if he wants to. Those people over there, Satan, all they can make is a distorted reject of anything they try to, whenever the enemy tries to replicate anything the Most High has done. When they try to sit in his seat, all they make is a counterfeit joke. So that they see and know and consider and understand together that the hand of Yahuwah has done this, and the set apart one of Yasharal has created it. Present your case, says Yahuwah. Let your strong ones come near, says the sovereign of Jacob. Let them draw near and declare to us what is going to take place. Let them declare the former events, what they were, and we consider them and know the latter end of them, or announce to us what is coming. Declare the events that are going to come hereafter, and we know that you are mighty ones. Yes, do good or do evil, and let us be amazed and see it together. See, those people who think they can do those things, you are of nothing, and your work a breath. He who chooses you is an abomination. There you go. He who chooses you is an abomination. If you choose them, he said it right there, and you're an abomination, and that's exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about if you, after all this, seeing this, if you still stand with Isis Ra'el, you are an abomination. And ain't it amazing how, because we've trusted in the Most High and we've followed his word, the Lamb, and let him lead us where he has. Ain't it amazing that all this word in the word actually makes sense now? The majority of people, when they read this word like I used to, they thought they knew what it was talking about, but they had no idea what it truly was talking about. That's the power the Most High has, and he possesses, and he gives us to possess. The power to tread on scorpions, the scorpions that cover the land and lie about it. I have stirred up one from the north, and he comes from the rising of the sun. He calls on my name. Yes. And he comes against princes as though mortar, as the potter treads clay. Who has declared from the beginning, and we know, and former times, and we say, he is righteous? No, no one is declaring. No, no one is proclaiming. No, no one is hearing your words. He who was first said to Sion, see them, and to Jerusalem I give one who brings good news. Hallelujah. And I see that there is no man, and of these there is no counselor who, when I ask them, answers a word. Oh, I don't know. I really don't know what that's talking about, what the image of the beast is, and you know, those are God's chosen holy people, and that's what this, you know, that's what they did over there, and that's the Star of David. It's innocent. It don't mean none of that. None of that stuff that you've said, Dottie, is true. But I'm not going to come and try to prove to you that it's not. And it's because you're ridiculous, and you're, I'm holier than thou, so I can't even waste my time to come over there and even try to discuss any of this with you, because you ain't nothing but a piece of scum on the bottom of my boot, if that. I stand with Isis Ra'el. See, all of them are useless. Their works are nothing. Their molded images are wind and confusion. Okay, now I know I've probably read Isaiah 42 to you guys recently, but all praise, all honor, all glory, and all esteem to Yahuwah. Open your eyes. Pay attention. Because it's on repeat like a parrot. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Pain and gain, baby. But it ain't no pain to me. It's all the same. It's all magnificent. And it's the food, the bread that actually sustains. Verse 1, see my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen one, my being has delighted in. I have put my spirit upon him. He brings forth right ruling to the nations. He does not cry out, nor lifts up his voice, nor causes his voice to be heard in the street. A crushed reed he does not break. A smoking flax he does not quench. He brings forth right ruling in accordance with truth. He does not become weak or crushed until he has established right ruling in the earth, and the coastlands wait for his Torah. Thus said the Most High, Yahuwah, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread forth the earth and that which comes from it, who gives breath to the people on it and spirit to those who walk on it. I, Yahuwah, have called you in righteousness, and I strengthen your hand and guard you and give you for a covenant to a people, for a light to the nations, to open blind eyes, to bring out prisoners from the prison, those who sit in darkness from the prison house. The prison house. I am Yahuwah. That is my name, and my esteem I do not give to another, nor my praise to idols. See, the former predictions have come, and new ones I am declaring. Before they spring forth, I let you hear them. Sing to Yahuwah. This is your instruction, anyone who's listening to this. Sing to Yahuwah. Sing a new song, his praise from the ends of the earth, you who go down to the sea and all that is in it, you coastlands and you inhabitants of them. Let the wilderness and its cities lift up their voice, the villages where Quadar dwells. Let the inhabitants of Selah sing. Let them shout from the top of the mountains. Let them give esteem to Yahuwah and declare his praise in the coastlands. Yahuwah goes forth like a mighty man. He stirs up ardor like a fighter. He cries out, yes, shout aloud. Over his enemies he shows himself mighty. I have kept silent from of old. I have been still and held myself back like a woman in labor. I now cry out. I pant and gasp at once. I lay waste mountains and hills, and I dry up all their plants. And I shall make rivers become coastlands, and I dry up pools. And I shall lead the blind by a way they have not known, and paths they have not known I lead them. I make darkness light before them, and crooked places straight. These matters I shall do for them, and I shall not forsake them. Those who trust in idols, who say to the molten images, to the image of the beast, you are our mighty ones, shall be turned back, utterly ashamed. Hear, you deaf, and look, you blind, and see. Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger, whom I send? Who is blind as he who is at peace, and blind as a servant of Yahuwah? You see much, but do not guard. Our ears are open, but do not hear. It has delighted Yahuwah for the sake of his righteousness to make the Torah great and esteemed. But this is a people robbed and plundered. All of them are snared in holes, and they are hidden in prison houses. They have become a prey with no one to deliver for plunder and no one to say, restore. They bear the mark of the beast, those open wounds. Who among you gives ear to this, pays attention, and hears for time to come, for the time to come? Who gave Jacob for plunder and Yasharal to the robbers? To the robbers. Was it not Yahuwah, he against whom we sinned? Yeah, he's the one that kicked his children out of there for sinning with Babylon, with idols, carved images. That's how you can know for sure that that place over there ain't his people or his land, nor are they blessed by him. For they would not walk in his ways, and they did not obey his Torah. So he has poured on him his burning displeasure and the strength of battle, and it set him on fire all around, yet he did not understand, and it burned against him, yet he did not take it to heart. So I'm going to finish off here in Matthew. I know I told you I was going to read Revelation chapter 17. Here's some homework for you. Go read Revelation 17 and read about Babel. Next time you hear from me, that's the plan. We're going to get Revelations. But more importantly, right now, let's hear straight from the mouth of the Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach. That one with the two-edged sword proceeding out his mouth. And what is that two-edged sword that proceeds out his mouth? It's all esteem to Abba Yahuwah, his Father, our Father. It's understanding of what his word means. It's righteousness. It's the truth. And when you see it the way it was intended to be seen, it sets you all the way 100% free. And isn't it a coincidence, or is it, that he's talking about the set-apart place right here in chapter 24? I think not. Verse 1, and going out, Yahushua went away from the set-apart place, and his taught ones came near to point out to him the buildings of the set-apart place. This isn't by chance. I know a lot of y'all like to think that the Most High and the Messiah, they put words in Scripture that, he didn't have to say that, or he was just talking. No. How many times do I have to reiterate the fact that all words are all 1,000,000,000% necessary? You must hear them, acknowledge them, understand them. That means eat them and digest them and do what they are telling you to do. When he says see, that means you need to see. Open your eyes. Yahushua said to them, do you not see all these? Truly I say to you, not one stone shall be left here upon another at all, which shall not be thrown down. That means there's no stones in the set-apart Hakal. But over there, they tell you there is. Well, they're building a third one right now. They just reinstituted the sacrifices, didn't they? Yeah, over there in the house of the robber, of the thief. And as he sat on the Mount of Olives, and there's a reason, all words, like I said, there's a reason he sat on the Mount of Olives. When you hear olives, you should automatically remember the two witnesses in Revelation chapter 10 and in Zechariah chapter 5. Do your homework, your own due diligence, if you want to live. The taught ones came to him separately, saying, say to us, when shall this be? And what is the sign of your coming and the end of the age? And Yahushua answering, here's his answer, and it's for you too. He said to them, take heed that no one leads you astray. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they shall lead many astray. That whole lie right there came from over there. It came from those same people. The same organization, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Satan, the 13 families, all that crap. And you shall begin to hear of fightings and reports of fighting. See that you are not troubled, for these have to take place, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and reign against reign. And there shall be scarcities of food, and deadly diseases, and earthquakes in places. And all these are the beginning of birth pains. Then they shall deliver you up to affliction and kill you, and you shall be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many shall stumble, and they shall deliver up one another, and shall hate one another. Yeah, that's going on right now. And many false prophets shall rise up and lead many astray. Yeah, that's prevalent right now. And because of the increase in lawlessness, the love of many shall become cold, even amongst those who openly swear by the quote-unquote law. They don't walk it out. They sit in the seat of Moses, but they don't practice what they preach. But he who shall have endured to the end shall be saved. And this, what you've been hearing, and this good news of the reign shall be proclaimed in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end shall come. This, what I've been repeating, trying to convey to you, is the good news of the reign. You want to know what it's not? It's not for you and everybody to go to the four corners of the world and say, do you know that Jesus loves you? Have you asked him to be your personal Lord and Savior into your heart? Now you're saved. You're healed, you're saved, you're good. Now, well, can I still celebrate Christmas? And well, yeah. Oh, yeah. He don't care about that. He don't care what you call him. You know, even though he's the one going to be reigning and ruling. I mean, if he's your king, he don't care that you call him Zeus, and you blaspheme him and his father and the tent and all this stuff. He don't care about none of that. No, that's not preaching the good news, the gospel to the four corners. This, what we're talking about right now, is the good news. If you follow the Messiah, that means you follow the truth, and you're willing to walk after it, run after it. There's not a line in the sand that you come to that you say, well, I'm not doing that. You don't get to put words in his mouth. You take them straight out from his mouth. You ain't exalted in your own eyes, but you should be poor and needy and understand your place, that it's on your face only. You don't call the shots. You ain't no shot caller. If you want to live, you best endure in all what I just described to you to the end. And this good news of the reign shall be proclaimed in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end shall come. So when you see the abomination that lays waste, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, set up in the set-apart place, he who reads, let him understand. So he said in 15 there, so when you see the abomination that lays waste, all up until now, whenever I would read that, I would think, like a lot of people do, when you see it happening, like when you see that first jab go in the arm, and you see people taking the jab or whatever, or a lot of these believers, they're waiting for some statue to get erected in some temple somewhere. No. If you've been listening to what I've been telling you, and the truth, the Messiah has led you to the truth of what the abomination that lays waste actually is. When you see the truth in that, that's what he's talking about. When you see it, it's no different than when he's talking to someone and he says, see, in the beginning of his sentence. It's the same principle. That's why he says, he who reads, let him understand. Then let those who are in Yehuda flee to the mountains. You best flee to the mountains when you understand what he just said. Let him who is on the housetop not come down to take whatever out of his house. That right there just backs up what I just said. The reason he said the housetop, it has everything to do with the imposter, with the fraudulent house, who swear falsely by his name, who deceive. When you see the truth and you realize that is the counterfeit imposter, don't take nothing away from that. Anything that you've thought you learned, anything that you acquired from being associated with those concepts and ideas and doctrines and wine, and whatever. It's all lies. Take nothing away from it. Drop it all right there on the curb and leave it right where it lays and walk away from it. And let him who is in the field not turn back to get his garments. The field. That's the same thing. That's why he says 2 will be in the field, 1 left, 1 taken. He's talking about 2 cities. That's why he says in the field. And woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing children in those days. And pray that your flight does not take place in winter or on Sabbath. That's how adamant that you keep the Torah, the law, that the Messiah is. Right there. For then there shall be great distress, such has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And if those days were not shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the sake of the chosen ones, those days shall be shortened. If anyone then says to you, look, here is the Messiah, or there, do not believe it. Don't believe it. If someone tells you that Jesus is the Messiah, don't believe it, because if you really do hunger for truth and for what's right, you'll quickly see that that's a lie, that is the man of lawlessness. There is all the stuff that they claim that Jesus would do ain't nothing that the Messiah himself, the real, authentic Son of the Most High, would tell you to do or do. Everything that character teaches is false and completely opposite from what the real Messiah teaches in his word, and you can find it. All you got to know how to do is read and think. That's all you got to do. For false messiahs and false prophets shall rise, and they shall show great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the chosen ones, if possible. And hey, that's why he says many are called, few are chosen. There's a lot of people that's been called to the truth, but not everyone chooses to be led by the Messiah wherever he leads them. A lot of people, they draw those lines in the sand and they say, I'm not going past this. I'm not going to stand against them people over there. I don't believe. There's all kinds of dead ends that they build on their walk. But yet they truly believe, and this is the pride in them, and the fact that they exalt in themselves, they truly believe that they're going to get the reward that's promised to those who endure to the end. But they ain't willing to go to the end. They're only going so far, but you best believe that they're going to get the reward. That's what they want you to believe. But that's just more falsehood that was taught to them by that image of the beast. See, I have forewarned you, so that they do not. So if they say to you, look, he is in the desert, do not go out or look. He is in the inner rooms, do not believe. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines to the west, so also shall the coming of the Son of Adam be. What's that mean? That means you'll know it. If it's storming and the sky lights up and you hear thunder, what happened? Do you know what happened? Yeah, lightning struck, huh? That's what he's talking about. When you see the truth and you see it come out his mouth, you'll know. There'll be no question about who's speaking. There'll be no question about what you're following and to what end. For wherever the dead body is, there the vultures shall be gathered together. And immediately after the distress of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light, and the stars shall fall from the heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then the sign of the Son of Adam shall appear in the heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth shall mourn, and they shall see the Son of Adam coming on the clouds of the heaven with power and much esteem. You're seeing it right now. That's what you're seeing. It's not literal. He's not literally going to come down like that. You're seeing him come right now. You're seeing, and all these people who have been living on these lies, when they see their lies being exposed because of the truthful words that come from the Messiah's mouth, They're going to mourn, and they're going to cry about it. And he shall send his messengers with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his chosen ones from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. You probably hear it right now, don't you? And learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that the summer is near. There's so many amazing gifts we get from following his word. But just one of them, just to bring it up and maybe point it out in case you didn't recognize, that now that I realize that of what the truth is, that what it means to follow the Messiah, what that actually means, now that I see that, I have confirmation. I can rest assured that the summer is near, that it's almost over, because I'm seeing all these things that he said we would see right before the end. It truly sets you free. The truth sets you free all the way. Indeed. So you also, when you see all these, know that he is near at the doors. Truly I say to you, this generation shall by no means pass away until all this takes place. The heaven and the earth shall pass away, but my word shall by no means pass away. But concerning that day and the hour no one knows, not even the messengers of the heavens, but my Father only. But we can know that it's getting close. That's a 1,000%, trillion% factual statement right there he just made. You're never going to know the day or the hour, but we can know the season. And you should be out, ready to meet the bridegroom, with your lamps trimmed. And as the days of Noah, so also shall the coming of the Son of Adam be. For as they were in the days before the flood, eating, drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and they did not know until the flood came and took them away, so also shall the coming of the Son of Adam be. Then two shall be in the field, the one taken, the one left. This is talking about Jerusalem and the false Jerusalem. These references, the field, the grinding mill, those are threshing floor references. Those are references to let you know who he's talking about. This isn't the rapture. That's why he said all this stuff will take place. Then the veil is going to be lifted. You're going to see who the fake house of the robber is and who the real Jerusalem, the real set apart splendid land is, where it is, and who it is. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, one taken, one left. Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your master is coming. And know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. Because of this, be ready too, for the Son of Adam is coming at an hour when you do not expect him. Who then is a trustworthy and wise servant, whom his master set over his household to give them food in season? Blessed is that servant whom his master, having come, shall find so doing. Truly, I say to you that he shall set him over all his possessions. But if the evil servant says in his heart, my master is delaying his coming, because he hasn't been following the Lamb, the word, and he begins to beat his fellow servants, that's what they do. They beat him. They slap people around with the Bible, and they say, this is what you're supposed to do. But they don't live nowhere near that decree, that command. They show no love for their brother. They won't talk about certain truths. They draw those lines in the sand if it's going to affect their pocketbook or their following, their social status. They don't want to be seen as crazy. They don't want to be seen as poor and needy. They believe if you're poor and needy, you ain't blessed by the Most High. They believe the only way that you could be blessed by him is to have it going on like Donkey Kong. They give all their support and allegiance to those who are exalted, who exalt themselves and are exalted by others, those who everyone gives their money to, their support, who gets all the views and the subs. But the poor and the needy, who speak the real truth, they look down their nose on them. They laugh and they mock and they scoff. The master of that servant, and they eat and drink. They beat their servants, his fellow servants, and eat and drink with the drunkards. What I just was saying, that's eating and drinking with the drunkards. The master of that servant shall come on a day when he does not expect it, and at an hour he does not know it, and shall cut him in two and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Take it to the bank. You best believe. And if you ain't believing, if you're giving your support with the drunkards, you best believe you're going to be taken by surprise. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You will be gnawing and gnashing your teeth when you wake up to a rude awakening to the fact that it's too late, that you had all the opportunity one should need. You were given countless opportunity, and you didn't give your allegiance to the truth. You didn't follow the Messiah like you claimed, and you told other people, beat them over the head. You mocked people, talked about them behind their back, and gossiped about how they were going to hell because they weren't following the Messiah like you. Well, you're going to find out that you didn't want to truly follow the Messiah, because it wasn't as prosperous to you. You couldn't see your life as poor and needy because you seen yourself in the clouds already. I got news for you. If you don't follow the Messiah wherever he leads you now, you're not in the company of those coming to the wedding supper. You're in the company of those who will be gnawing and gnashing their teeth. These out.